Workers' Union IMATU says its members cannot be blamed for the lack and disruption of services in Tshwane. Workers affiliated to IMATU and SAMWU have been accused of collapsing services after they embarked on an unprotected wage increase strike since July. Today, Tshwane will hold a council meeting to discuss, among other things, the ongoing strike that has crippled the city. Let's go live now to my colleague, SABC News reporter Patricia Visachi. A very good afternoon, Patricia. Just tell us what the latest is.
Well, we're back at the Tshwane House. Of course, you would understand that the ongoing labour dispute remains at the centre of some of the deliberations here in the capital city. Of course, the Tshwane Mayor, Salia Brunk, joins me right now just to unpack some of the decisions. You would know that the city has been hell-bent, that there is no money. They cannot be bending to the demands of SAMWU in particular, as of course they still want the wage increases to go ahead. But the mayor has been very clear that this is not possible. Mayor, today, of course, we're seeing a show of force. The EFF is outside with a big march. They're trying to put pressure on you. But we're also seeing a shake within the coalition, Action SA, the ACDP, saying that there needs to be a different approach to this labour dispute. There needs to be a political solution. The city is burning. Service delivery is on its knees. Where do you stand with all this?
So let me just speak about the EFF firstly. Obviously, the last council meeting, they violently disrupted. You would have seen the scenes with councillors having their clothes ripped off of their bodies, the violence, the intimidation. That's completely unacceptable. The EFF should be in the council chamber representing the voters, making the arguments, not outside interfering with a labour dispute. And by the way, I believe that under the new code of conduct for councillors, that might even be an offence, what they're doing. As for the city's position, it remains the same. If we had money for the salary increases, we would have paid it. We knew the consequences of making this very difficult decision when we approved the budget. 0% increases for councillors, employees. We knew that there was going to be resistance, but this is what is responsible. There is no other option. If we pay the increases, we'll be forced to cut services to residents. We'll deepen our financial distress instead of getting out of it. And we might even be in a position of many Free State municipalities that can't pay their workers on time or have to take pension contributions to fund operational expenditure. That's what we don't want. That case is very clear. As for our engagements with the coalition, those will happen in terms of coalition processes, and it's not for me to comment on that.
But are you not worried? Is that not creating a sensitive situation in the coalition, in particular with Action SA, the position that they have taken? The ACDP has been very vocal for weeks now that they don't think that this is the way to go. There needs to be a middle ground.
So when you're in government, you make the most responsible decisions, you carry it through, and you live with the consequences. Coalitions are difficult. It involves a lot of negotiations, a lot of give and take. But on this, the coalition passed the budget. The coalition knows the implications of us paying salary increases that we can't afford. It will be severe, not just for communities, but also for employees of the city. Those jobs will be at risk if we incur expenditure that we can't afford. I remain committed to the coalition, and we'll discuss issues that arise, as is the case with all coalitions internally. But am I worried? No. It is easy to make decisions if you know it's the right decision and you're willing to live with the consequences of that decision.
You're saying that there's no money, but we understand that you're going ahead with the plans to have a deputy mayor. So if the city does not have money, where is the city going to get money to fund a deputy mayor? And is it really needed?
So the issue of a deputy mayor comes from our coalition agreement. In terms of the coalition agreement, Action SA is entitled to the position of deputy mayor. It's been several months since the 2021 local government election, and they have raised the issue to say, when is this provision of the agreement being implemented? And that's what we're doing. We're implementing the agreement. But on the objection to the finances, what we've also said is that the deputy mayor will be an MMC. We're not creating a different position outside of the MMCs. The number of people on the mayoral committee will be the same. The deputy mayor will be one of the MMCs. That will save significant costs. But of course, this is the first step. If council approves the deputy mayor position, it has to go to the MEC for local government for concurrence, and only upon that concurrence can we elect a deputy mayor. But I do want to emphasize that Gauteng is governed by coalitions, and we've got to implement the provisions of those coalitions in order to ensure stable government.
This at the expense of the city's money service delivery. So it's more about the political positioning than it is about effective governance.
So it's not an either or. You have to have a stable government, you have to have a stable coalition in order to make effective decisions. As I mentioned before, we're taking specific measures to ensure that this deputy mayor position doesn't create inordinate expenses. But of course, it's a case we have to make to the council. And South Africans must understand that coalition agreements, it's better to have it on the table. What's the deal between coalition partners instead of having it in dark back rooms where nobody knows what the coalition agreement is. Part of our deal with Action SA is that they get a position called deputy mayor. We believe it can contribute to the stability of government, but it is a case that we'll make to them.
Just in simple, the deputy mayor. I mean, you're doing the work. There is the city manager. You've got the MMCs. What exactly is he going to add? Which value is he going to add in the capital city that is not already there when we see all the MMCs already?
So you would know, Tshwane has had how many mayors this year? I think about 3 of them. So coalitions are unstable. We are in the end times of ANC one-party dominance. And without a deputy mayor, what you have is the chaotic situation where if a mayor is removed, there's nobody to step into that position to give a degree of stability until the council can elect somebody else. To me, that would be the biggest contribution that a deputy mayor would make. But of course, it's also about power sharing in your coalition. And that's the deal that we made. And we have to stick to the deal if we are going to hold the coalition together.